I'm Teresa. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for joining me here today. Today I'm going to be using these embossing folders. I've had them for a long time. Don't use them anymore in card making. And I'm going to use them with my gel plate to create some really interesting backgrounds with acrylic paints. Hopefully inspiring you to get something out of your stash that you might not have used for a long time and put it to a good use. It's easy to do, super fun technique, so I'm going to clear these out of the way and I'll be back to show you how it's done. As always, I'll begin with a quick rundown of the items I'm using today. Today I have my 6-inch square gel plate. This is my Gel Press brand 6x6-inch plate. And purely because of the size of the designs that I'm working on. Again, as I always say, use whatever size plate that you've got, whatever you find most appropriate for the project that you're creating. I've got a brayer. This is my speedball brayer. I have a selection of acrylic paints, and I've chosen some sort of muted tones here. These are Deco Art Americana brand, Vintage Pink, Mint Julep Green, Chartreuse Yellow and Blue Mist. I've also chosen some metallics because I want to do some prints onto black paper to show you just a different effect that you can get. So again, they're all Deco Art paints. I have a couple of the Extreme Sheen range, which is copper and vintage brass. And then the dazzling metallics, I've got Peacock Pearl and Berry. I'm also going to be using some black paint, so this is just Deco Art Americana Lamp Black. I have some black and white smooth cardstock, chosen a few sheets in black, a few sheets in white. These are cut to approximately 6 by 4 inches, which is fine for working on my 6-inch square plate. I've also got general cleaning products, so spray bottle with some water in, some paper towel. And to create the designs for our printed backgrounds today, I'm going to be using some embossing folders. Now, any of you that have done sort of card making and paper crafts may well have embossing folders. They're easy to pick up in craft stores. You quite often find a lot of crafting magazines have embossing folders as a cover gift. These I've had for a long time. As you can see, I have a couple of Cuttlebug brand. Cuttlebug no longer exists, so it shows how long I've had these. And I've got a Sizzix brand one, and I believe this one that without any branding on it was a Kaisercraft brand. For those of you not familiar with what an embossing folder is, essentially it has a design that is raised on one side in here and sort of debossed on that side. You put a piece of cardstock in it, close it shut, run it through a die cutting machine, and it then embosses the design onto your cardstock. And this is what the designs look like. So I've got this one that looks like metal with sort of rivets in. This was the Sizzix one. This one here. I've then got this one that looks like a script handwriting. This was one of the old Cuttlebug designs. This was the Kaisercraft one, and it's got hearts and some words on there. Another Cuttlebug one here. This is just like an all-over sort of swirl design. And then this Cuttlebug one was like a spray of branches with leaves. And as you can see, it raises the design up on this side. Obviously, if you flip it over, the design is debossed on the other side, and so that goes for all of them. Now, I have briefly in, I believe it was the video that I was using distress inks on the gel plate, and I directly pressed an embossing folder onto the plate to sort of remove some of the ink. And you can do that and it works perfectly well. Some people might not want to get ink, paint, things like that all over their plate, so I thought let's emboss some cardstock and see if we can then use the embossed cardstock to transfer pattern onto our gel plate. And that's basically what I'm going to do today, and I'm going to show you the effects that you can get by using one side or the other side, and using either black paint and then lifting some so that we're getting almost like an embossed resist that we can then put with a coloured background. And then also I'm just going to be lifting some of the paint using the embossed cardstock and using metallic paints, which I'm then going to print onto the black cardstock just for a different effect. So I'm going to begin by applying some black paint to my plate, using my brayer to create a nice even coat. And I'm going to use this swirl design. Now I want my swirls to stay black, so I'm using the design where the swirls are raised up, facing upwards, and placing it in this direction. And I press down firmly all over. And lift that off, and as you can see, it's lifted where it's made contact but left the design on the plate there. Now you can reuse these, so just set that aside to dry. I need to let this paint dry before I add another layer. Once that's dry, we can apply some paint. And I'm going to apply 2 colours, I think. And again, just use my brayer to create a nice even coat. Don't want it too thick. I'm going to take my piece of white cardstock, place it down. I'm just going to take a scrap piece of paper just so that I can give it a good rub all over without getting paint all over me. When you lift your print, you've got this lovely double layer design. Really love that. I'm going to clean my plate off with a bit of water. This time let's use some metallic paint. So rather than applying some black, I'm just going to apply some metallic paint directly onto my plate. And again, use my brayer to get a nice coat. I'm going to take this design here with the like the metal plates and the rivets, and this time I want to remove the paint where this design is raised up, so I'm going to pop it basically face down onto my plate. And again, just lightly but firmly pressing that design onto my plate to try and remove some of the paint. I'm now going to take a piece of black cardstock and place that directly down onto my gel plate. Take my scrap of paper and transfer the paint off the plate and onto my card. And as you can see, that's transferred that design. With this being quite an open design, obviously as I've pressed down, I've removed some paint in the centre of the panels. But you know, I really don't mind. I like that effect. It's a really nice, cool effect with the metallic paint on the black. And I get to see the line work and the rivets and that. And I'm really pleased with that one. Again, I'm going to clean my plate off. Next, I'm going to show you one thing to consider if you are working with a design that has text on it. So again, I'm going to pop some black paint on my plate and brayer that out to get a nice coat. You need, when you press your design into your plate, for the image on the plate to be in reverse so that when you pull the print, it then is the correct way round. So for a design like this that has words on it, I need to place it face down so that my words are in reverse on the plate. If you're unsure, just try it on a scrap of paper, just so that you understand which way round you need to do this. So all my writing on the plate is the wrong way round, and I'll let this dry and we'll put some more colour on, and then when we pull the print, the text should be the correct way round. Let's get some colour onto the plate. To take my piece of white cardstock, place it down on the plate, my scrap of paper, and transfer the print. And there's our transferred image. And as you can see, that writing is now the correct way round and we can read it. So I'm going to clean my plate off again. I'm going to carry on. I'm going to do some on the black and on the white, use the other designs that I've got here. I'll just speed it up and I'll be back again at the end to show you all the results.
As a young girl, it feels were mine. We played hide and seek for hours, raised our shadows among the pines. So offshore, playful and free, without a care in the world. I was one rich little girl, daydreamer, kidnap me. Take me back, all the way back to them days, running around in a gown and a crown, barefoot. No mistake ever kept me late. We spent summers catching fireflies and winters on our skates. One big smile across my face. We used to dance our way to church on Sundays. Mama set the pace. Daydreamer, kidnap me. Take me back, all the way back to them days, running around in a gown and a crown, barefoot. As a young girl, the fields were mine. We played hide and seek for hours, raised our shadows among the pines. So offshore, playful and free.
And here are my finished prints, and I'm really impressed with the variety that I've got, whether we're working on white cardstock or black, whether we're using the positive or the negative image. I just think they look really, really fun. And it's another way of using an item that might be just sitting there in a drawer. I know I don't use my embossing folders for card making anymore. And, you know, they just sit there and I think, do I keep them? Do I get rid of them? So it's nice to be able to find a new use for them. If you don't have embossing folders, I'm sure you can find some embossed card or some embossed wallpaper. Anything that's got quite a good deep emboss on it should work in exactly the same way as these did. Now, quite often I do go on to finish and create some finished items. Today I'm not going to do that. I could do with adding these into my stash of background prints just ready for future projects, so I'm going to leave them. But I put lots of suggestions usually at the end of videos, so you could finish these with a sentiment, with a die cut shape or an image, a stamped image, and turn them into postcards, greetings cards, artist trading cards, lots of different uses for these gel printed backgrounds. Or indeed just pop one that you like in a little frame and put it on display in your house. But as always, hope you enjoyed the video, hope it's inspired you. If so, don't forget to leave me a thumbs up and I'll be back again soon. But for now, that's all. Bye!
Without a care.